retribution. Oh yeah, cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience for your love with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration deep in the streets. It's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, free to their knees. Pain for fantasy. Just like a weed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you to a very special edition Sunday stream. And we are getting ready. We are wild. We are willing. And we are getting set to talk some pro wrestling here on the Lord's Day. As, of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is right there? I want to know if you know. Do you know what that is? I'm waiting. Do you know? I'm waiting. Don't leave me waiting here, you motherfucker.
You crack me up, man, every time.
What is it?
The best damn podcast in the IWC.
That's very true, but what you smell, ladies and gentlemen, is the smell of pure fucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind! And this is the official rewind for WWE Elimination Chamber. I don't know why I said it like that. 2023, which of course streamed live on the Peacock, that is. Get your mind out of the gutter, you fucking savages. Last night from the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We got a lot of shit to go over. We got a solid crowd so far. We got Mick Thomason, Raging Girl Gamer, Lady Kenzie. How y'all doing? Thank you very much for stopping by. We got plenty of shit to talk about. But as you can see, I am not alone. I wanted to get him back on the channel bright and early in 2023. And he wasted no time accepting the invitation. Back here once again. What's going on over here? Did we lose him? What's going on? Dude, HooliGrim, did we lose you? Did we lose you? There we go.
Sorry about that. My mistake. Bad timing.
I'm a professional here. Anyway, as you pretty much already we spoiled the introduction, but regardless about that, he's a lifelong wrestling fan, DJ Storm's posse member. I had him on for the very first time ever back in December for the Rewind 4 Final Battle, and he is back here once again. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome back to the channel for the first time in 2023, HooliGrim. How you doing, brother? Are you good now? No more technical difficulties?
I'm good. I was trying to figure out if there's a way that I can see the chat while I'm doing this, but
you're going to have to go on your laptop if you got one.
Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that. I touched something and it ruined everything. So my apologies for that. But thank you again for having me back on, brother. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem. Don't touch your fucking phone.
Yeah, no, no. Hands free. Hands free.
Anyway, I see we also got Dylan and Matt, the Giants fan, in the chat. Appreciate you guys coming on in, but we're talking about the Elimination Chamber 2023, the final stop on the road to WrestleMania. And listen, I don't really throw this around. You never hear me throw around, oh, this was the best and that was the best. I'm not a guy that really throws that shit around like confetti. But it is very hard for me to sit here and not say that this was probably the best Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that WWE has ever produced. I can't remember the last time an Elimination Chamber from start to finish really felt like a road to WrestleMania show. The show had unparalleled energy. We got NXT TakeOver worthy matches from start to finish. And with the exception of one match, every single individual in all these matches brought their A game for tonight. And you could really sense that it was a real motive tonight to make sure that everyone in the Bell Center in Montreal really got their money's worth. We got two excellent chamber matches. Both were better than the actual Royal Rumbles. And on top of that, on that note, I do have to mention the fact that the Royal Rumble clearly was not a very good show, minus the main event and the closing segment. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that Vince McMahon, he is back in charge. Not completely, but he does have influence over creative. And we saw a lot of that at the Royal Rumble. And Triple H, I kind of felt like he knew that. And with all the lawsuits coming out against Vince McMahon, I'm guessing Vince kind of took a step back a little bit. He's not really making his presence known. And Triple H, being the guy that he is and the fact that he cares about the fans, he was like, yeah, I understand the Royal Rumble sucked. I understand the road to WrestleMania got off on the wrong foot. Here is my apology to you, and I'm going to give you a fantastic Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So I'm starting to feel as though Triple H is really starting to ramp up and get the gears in motion for what is to be a very solid two-night WrestleMania. Even though I can't fucking stand the two-night WrestleMania, bring it back to one night, just reduce the fucking matches. I do believe that Triple H is going to give us a solid two-night WrestleMania, and this show realistically felt like a night 3 of WrestleMania, if we're going to be quite honest. But HooliGrim, what did you think of the overall show, the overall build, and the final product that we got at the end of the night?
Well, I'm glad you said something about the Royal Rumble, because I was going to say something about the Royal Rumble and I wasn't sure how that was going to be received by you. But I felt like I was not thrilled for the road to WrestleMania after the Royal Rumble. And last night completely, I felt like re-steered the ship. You could totally, it just had that Triple H feel to it, you know, that Triple H flavor that we're so used to getting with NXT Black and Gold. Rest in peace. But it was a great show last night, and it actually got me excited for WrestleMania, which I haven't felt in, I mean, it's been so many years, I can't even count.
It can be rough, especially with what Vince McMahon did over the years. And again, the process of rehabilitation, it's not going to happen overnight. It's obviously going to take some time, but I would say that after getting off on the wrong foot, Triple H definitely righted the wrongs that happened at the Rumble. And it's not because the fact that the outcomes at the Rumble were incorrect. It's the means to getting to those outcomes that were not very well produced and were not well executed. All the outcomes were correct. all the outcomes were correct. But the matches, in order to get to those outcomes, minus the main event, they did not click.
It felt like a mail-in show. Like it was just let's just get these results to how we need them to be, so we can get on with the rest of the road to Mania or whatever. It felt very just uninspired. Like Cody coming out at 30, it was like, come on, man, you could have done something a little more imaginative than that. Like not everybody coming out at 30 has to be the winner.
And then obviously afterwards, it definitely felt like they turned a corner, because the build to Elimination Chamber, much better than the build to the Royal Rumble. We actually got some solid wrestling, some solid stories developing, some good promos back and forth between multiple individuals. And on top of that, they also slightly built to WrestleMania as well as the Elimination Chamber, all within the last couple of weeks. So we definitely felt more of a sense of urgency going into the Chamber, and we ended up getting what was a great show from top to bottom, minus one match, which we will discuss. And everyone, I felt as though, brought their A game. And Rage, hopefully you get a new job soon, so that way you won't work the weekends, and I can have you on the channel on the weekends, because we need to get you back on the channel sooner rather than later. Hopefully we could do something for WrestleMania week, but that will be in the near future. But for now, we are going to get set to talk about everything that went down at the Chamber. But before we get into the details, where can everyone find you on social media, HooliGrim?
They can find me on Twitter at Who, like WHO, Doctor Who, but at HooliGrim, WHO_LA_Grim. And real quick, just shout out to my homegirl Rage. I didn't know she was in the chat, so I don't know if she. This is probably the first time she's ever seen my face. But what's up, Rage?
No, I think she was watching the rewind for Final Battle.
Was she cool?
Yeah. And she was watching the rewind for Final Battle, and it's interesting because I actually had you on the channel legitimately like 3 weeks after I had her on the channel. So nice little thing going on right there. But obviously, as far as I go, I have a hell of a lot more social medias because I got the brand over here. You can follow me on social media at HistoryMakerDJS. That is both on Twitter and Instagram. You can add me on Facebook as well. We're actually streaming live on my personal Facebook as well. I'm doing that as a tradition for rundowns and rewinds. For collaborations and business inquiries, please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com, like the official DJ Storms business page. I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all those links are in the description, as well as the link to HooliGrim's Twitter. Shout out to everyone who watched the LFU yesterday. You guys were great. Another great weekend for the DJ Storms brand, as well as the rundown for the Chamber with Robert of the Philly Sports Talk podcast, who is also in the chat right now, and Tyler of the It's Still Real to Me podcast. We collaborated on Thursday. Appreciate him. Also, shout out to Rick Recon, the King of Rock, who appeared on the Eye of the Storm sit-down interview show this past Wednesday. Hoping to get him back on the channel sooner rather than later, because Rick Recon is an absolute fucking stud at what he does. So shout out to him. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to like the stream, no matter where you're watching it on, whether it be on the Hardcore Sports Twitch, whether it be on the personal DJ Storms Posse Facebook group, my personal Facebook page, or the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, or my Twitter. Check out all the Hardcore Sports links in the description as well, because we are looking to be the #1 brand, the #1 fucking brand in all sports analytics. And I do believe that I do have a video file that I would like to show everyone, because this show is sponsored by Brittany K, my girl Brittany K. She is great. Take a look at these designs over here. We got Brody Lee. We got Jay Briscoe. Rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. She does these drawings on her iPad from scratch. We have John Moxley as well, and she is selling these on her social medias. So if you are interested in quality drawings from scratch on her iPad, we also got Malachi Black right there. Please go and give her a follow. One more time, we're going to take a look at those. We got Brody Lee. Brody Lee, you see the beautiful crafted face right there. Jay Briscoe, a great tribute to Jay Briscoe right there. The details are impeccable, and I'm very, very impressed with what Brittany K has done, and she's also a great friend of mine. She's a loyal supporter of the channel and a lifelong wrestling fan as well. So if you guys are interested in these drawings from scratch, I will also say on the iPad, go and follow her on social media. Her Twitter is @Brittany, that is BRITTANYKKAY 5150 on Twitter, and then on Instagram, Brittany K Designs. You go follow her on those two social media platforms, and you ask her about these top tier fucking drawings of these professional wrestlers, and she will get them to you ASAP as soon as she possibly can. If you also want Twitter headers and banners, she can also make those for you. So shout out to Brittany. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, that you hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on the Hardcore Sports Twitter or my Twitter. Hit the like button and share the stream out on all platforms, social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using, because we want to make sure everyone gets a little dose of DJ Storms and HooliGrim on their Sunday afternoon. Please make sure you share it out. And of course, when you hit the subscribe button, you got to hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you are going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, it is the best time to be on YouTube. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it is the only fucking time that you're going to get to see this glorious sideburn shin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Earl Cole's not in the chat, which I'm a little disappointed about, but we're still going to throw it up for him. This beautifully crafted black ace comb, and we're going to light it up right here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like a nice, hot, succulent pulled pork sandwich with coleslaw on the side, which I actually had for dinner last night and for lunch before I came here, because, I mean, let's be real, pulled pork is fucking unparalleled. I am just so good. I am the tastiest fucking snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Anyway, we're going to get right into the festivities here. We got the Elimination Chamber 2023. There was no pre-show, and it seems as though WWE is moving away from the pre-show matches, which I don't really mind, because the pre-show matches, they do not really feel all that special under WWE. With AEW, it's a little different, because they actually put some wrestling on the pre-shows, and we get some legit competitive fucking matches. But as far as the WWE pre-shows, they really haven't made the pre-show feel all that special in a good while. So I am not all that upset that they have stopped the pre-show matches for WWE. The last one, I believe, was Clash at the Castle, and before that, the last one was ironically Elimination Chamber 2022. So there was only 2 pre-show matches that WWE had in 2022 throughout the course of the year, which I'm not complaining about. But the Chamber 2023 started off with Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, Raquel Rodriguez, Carmella, and Natalya. This was an Elimination Chamber match for the right to wrestle Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the Raw Women's Championship. This match obviously came about because Ripley chose Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair, just letting everyone know. And Ripley is now going over to the SmackDown brand to take on Miss Charlotte Flair. Shout out to Lisa, who is also in the chat. Very happy to see Lisa in the chat. She is fantastic at what she does, and she's actually going to one of the wrestling schools to try and train to become a pro wrestler. So shout out to Lisa. I hope that she succeeds. Matter of fact, I know she's going to succeed. She's very, very persistent. We had 4 of these ladies, specifically Asuka, Liv Morgan, Nikki Cross, and Raquel. They got into the match because of the fact that they were the final 5 in the Rumble before being eliminated by the inevitable winner, Rhea Ripley. And then Carmella and Natalya had to qualify. we have grown to see a lot of women's elimination chambers in the past, and it really wasn't all that special. It really wasn't all that entertaining. But this chamber match, I don't know what it was. I feel as though it was either the production or the talent that was in here. This women's chamber match felt different. And I'll be quite honest, this was probably the best women's elimination chamber match that they've ever produced thus far. The second best, I would probably say, was the first one, and that was for the Raw Women's Championship, I believe, in 2018. I believe it was Bayley, Sasha, Alexa, Mickie James, Mandy Rose, and Sonya Deville, and those 6 women did a very good job. But these women, I would say, they topped what they did back then, and it was a very, very, very good performance by everyone, especially Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was the star of the match to me. But we had Natalya and Liv Morgan starting off the match. Liv Morgan bounced Natalya off the cage about 4 times. Morgan's head was bounced off the first pod. She was bounced off the pod 2 more times, and the pod did not break. The first pod that opened up was Raquel. She went in there after Natalya. We had a nice fall-away slam on Morgan as well. Raquel then bounced Natalya off the steel. Natalya then with a sunset flip powerbomb, driving Raquel into the cage. We had double team by Raquel and Natalya. The next one to come out was Nikki Cross, and she was running wild. She was running in all 3 corners, body avalanches to Liv, and then Raquel, and then Natalya. Then she decided to go up to the top of the pod. She threw her jacket off, and I was hoping that she would have done this. Big cross body off the top of the Elimination Chamber, down below, and everyone was down. The next one that came in was Carmella. Carmella tried to run away from Nikki Cross. She locked herself back in the pod. Raquel then had Nikki Cross up in a spine buster, drove her through the pod, similar to what Goldberg did to Chris Jericho back at SummerSlam 2003, I believe it was. And Nikki was taken out after that spot. So Nikki Cross was gone. I didn't mind it. Raquel had a pretty decent showing here. Mella then went to another pod, and Liv Morgan tried to take advantage. She hit a diving code breaker on Raquel, and then she climbed to the chamber. She was on top of the pod. Natalya and Raquel were in the corner. Natalya was taken out. Raquel was on the middle rope, and this was one of the best spots of the night right here. Raquel on the middle rope. Liv Morgan, and I'm very happy to see Liv Morgan. She's really starting to experiment with some new things, and listen, even though she was completely fucking buried at the hands of Vince and no one's really going to take her seriously, I do have to give Liv Morgan credit. She has really risen up the ranks, and she has proven to be perhaps the best member to come out of the Riot Squad. It can be debated between her and Ruby Soho, but Liv Morgan is doing really, really good work as far as an in-ring perspective goes. And she did a sunset flip powerbomb off the pod. She caught Raquel into the sunset flip powerbomb. Raquel Rodriguez, she went splat. Carmella tried to take advantage. Raquel kicked out. Asuka then came in. She went right after Carmella. Asuka accidentally kicked the pod, so Asuka was hobbling a little bit. The crowd was well behind Asuka. We had an Iron Octopus stretch on Raquel. Raquel got out of it. Morgan with a missile drop kick on Asuka. Super kick by Carmella on Morgan. Sharpshooter by Natalya. It was locked in deep. Morgan was trying to fight it, but Asuka locked in a modified armbar that A-Kid, a.k.a. Axiom, used to do in NXT UK, which I believe is called the Umaplata, or a modified double Fujiwara armbar. And Liv Morgan was locked in a double submission, and I actually like the fact that they protected her in this case. She wasn't going to win, so how are you going to make her look strong? You have her pass out from the pain of being in a double submission hold. I did not mind that whatsoever. Liv Morgan was out. We had a sharpshooter on Asuka, Carmella with a super kick, and Natalya was eliminated. Carmella then Asuka then worked over Raquel with some double team kicks. Enziguri, super kick, sliding knee, double cover, and Raquel was gone. Mella was the last one in there with Asuka. Carmella with a super kick. She tried to steal it. Asuka kicked out. Asuka then reversed the roll-up into an Umaplata, modified armbar, and Carmella tapped out with Asuka winning the Elimination Chamber, and she is going to WrestleMania to fight Bianca Belair. Easily the best women's Elimination Chamber match that they produced, and above all else, I was a little worried because normally Pro Wrestling 101 states that if you stand tall on the go-home show, you're not going to win at the pay-per-view. That was not the case here, and I'm very happy to see that that was not the case. This was absolutely the right outcome. Asuka has really resurrected her career from where she was and how she was pretty much made into a fucking circus act. She was probably one of the worst acts from a character perspective in the women's division. She was fucking dancing and she was smiling with the face paint and she was speaking in this over accentuated tone. Rah, like it was fucking retarded. It really was. It was nowhere near what Asuka was in NXT. Now I'm starting to feel we're getting that NXT Asuka back. The only difference between this Asuka and NXT Asuka is that this Asuka has face paint on, and she's channeling the inner Kana that she was in Japan before she signed with NXT. I have no issue with that. I actually love this version of Asuka. This is probably the best main roster version of Asuka that we've seen. And I'm very, very happy to see that Asuka is finally, and in such a short period of time too, she just came back at the Rumble, and in such a short period of time, she is right now the second most intriguing act in the women's division, right behind Rhea Ripley. And I am absolutely giving Asuka the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania. Easily the best women's chamber match that they've done. Absolutely the right outcome. And we should get a new Raw Women's Champion at WrestleMania. HooliGrim, the floor is yours.
The match was great. The one I think the one nitpick I had, I'll start with that just to get it out of the way, was very minor. At the intros, I believe Liv Morgan was the last one to come out. I swear, hearing the little girl cackle at the beginning, seeing the graphic on the screen, it literally took my eyes about 5 to 7 seconds to register that it was Liv Morgan and not Alexa Bliss. I literally thought it was Alexa Bliss. I feel like they've got the whole Bray Wyatt Alexa Bliss character just kind of gave it to Liv. Has that feel to me. That was my only nitpick, is that I feel like they should do something different with her to make her stand out. Because I feel like maybe to some she comes off as Alexa 2.0. That being said, me being really, I was big on Alexa Bliss in NXT, and to see how she kind of digressed over the years. Liv Morgan, like I was telling you before we went live, that last night was the first time I watched her, and I thought about her little catchphrase, "Watch me," and her tweets, and I was like, okay, like I'll watch you now. Like, she would finally, to me, was believable. Her selling was good. You can just see that she's trying and that she wants to get better, because every time I see her, she's improving little bits here and there. Asuka, she reminded me of, like, when you go to the zoo and you're in the cat section, and sometimes it'll be a tiger, or like if they have a black panther or whatever, and you just see them pacing in their cage back and forth. That's the vibe I kept getting every time they cut the camera to Asuka in the cage. And instead of the kind of goofy, jumpy, goofy Asuka that was getting so cringeworthy, she was still, jumping around in the cage and stuff, but she just came off as more like, oh, there's a wild beast about to be unleashed in the ring, and everybody look out.
That's what happened.
Yeah, so really happy for her, because I was really hoping that the outcome was what we got. And shout out to all the women, because a lot of times when you get a bunch of the women in the ring at the same time, it's not good. And last night, even Natalya, I mean, nobody came off as cheesy to me, really. And they did some spots that got the crowd doing, chanting "holy shit" right off the bat. And props to them, because it really, the first match always gets the show going, right? So you want to just come out there and like light the crowd up, and to do it with a multi women's match is pretty ballsy, actually, given what we are used to getting a lot of times with the women, and they killed it. So, yeah.
And most importantly, I would say, you can make the argument, and I made the same argument. I would not have put Natalya in there, and I wouldn't have put Carmella in there. Carmella was simply put in there because, they always use Carmella to put other women over. She's legitimately the female Dolph Ziggler. And then Natalya was only put in there because it's Canada. I would have put Shotzi and I would have put Candice LeRae in the chamber to make it better. But I cannot sit here and discredit what they did. They actually played their roles very well in the chamber. And I would say everyone got a chance to get their shit in, and they did what they did. And I would say this was probably a big breakout moment for Raquel, because she had a couple of decent moments in there. And then Liv Morgan especially. Obviously, Asuka was the correct winner here. But what do you see happening with Asuka going forward into WrestleMania? Now, I personally think she wins the Raw Women's Championship, and I do believe that going into SummerSlam, the best possible match for Asuka going into SummerSlam would be Io Sky. Let those two women who have history in Japan, in Stardom, let those two women go out there and just fucking tear the house down at SummerSlam in Detroit. That is the best possible match for the Raw Women's Championship. And you got a couple of decent women on Monday Night Raw to do their thing with Asuka. You could do Asuka versus Nikki Cross. I remember the matches that they had in NXT. You could do Asuka versus Candice LeRae. You could do an Asuka versus a Piper Niven. That would actually be pretty intriguing. Asuka versus Io Sky. Asuka versus Dakota Kai. There's a lot of different scenarios that you can go with. But the Raw Women's division, with Asuka spearheading it, and then you can move Bianca over to SmackDown, that would be a hell of a lot better of a decision to help the SmackDown Women's division perk up a bit. So that's how I see Asuka playing out for the rest of the year going into SummerSlam. Where do you see her going?
So I'm thinking about it. If Rhea goes to SmackDown because she's facing Charlotte for Charlotte's title, they would WWE really, like, Rhea and Bianca are their two hottest acts in the women's division right now. Would they send them both over to SmackDown?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, Bianca Belair has really, really gotten stale. And that's not because she's not great. And I don't really want to continue going back to this, but I'm going to have to bring this up. I don't think people really understand just how damaging that loss to Becky Lynch at SummerSlam 2021 really was. Bianca is great at what she does, and she's been putting great matches this year with Becky, with Bayley. She put on a great match with Asuka, and she was a part of Women's War Games. Bianca is great. But the problem with everything with Bianca is that one loss to Becky Lynch, and it wasn't just a loss. She got squashed. She was buried. And I continue to harp on that shit. That one loss is what is looming over Bianca Belair. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think anyone is really taking Bianca all too seriously, regardless of how good she is, regardless of whether or not she's had a great reign and she's been putting on great matches. That one loss is still fresh in everyone's mind, and that's been a looming black cloud over Bianca Belair. And I've said the same thing about Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross has not been booked horribly, obviously minus the Royal Rumble. I mean, that was Vince McMahon. But with Triple H, Kross has been putting on some decent matches. He's put on a couple great matches with Drew. I'm pretty sure we're going to see another great match with Rey Mysterio next Friday on SmackDown. But the problem with Karrion Kross is the fact that loss to Jeff Hardy and the way that he was just terribly portrayed on the main roster with the fucking medieval hatchet man attire. That right there is a dark cloud that is looming over Karrion Kross because of Vince McMahon. I don't think people really understand just how bad the damage that Vince McMahon has done to some of these superstars really are. And that's been a problem with Bianca Belair. She has been great, but that loss to Becky Lynch has been an anchor weighing down Bianca Belair even now. So the best part for Bianca right now, considering that she is very, very stale, and again, not her fault, she needs to lose the championship, and then you go over to SmackDown, you help even out the divisions, and with Asuka taking over Monday Night Raw as the new hottest act, Asuka will spearhead that division. You got Bayley over there. You got Dakota. You got Io. You got Candice. You got Piper. Nikki Cross. I'm sure sooner rather than later, people are going to start appreciating Nikki Cross a little bit more. Nikki Cross is great at what she does. I'm sure that character is going to take to the crowd sooner rather than later. Montreal loved it. So if you're asking me, would it be a mistake? No, because there's really no one in that division minus Raquel, Liv Morgan, and now Rhea that is really worth investing our time in. So Bianca would probably benefit from moving over to SmackDown.
I guess I just meant. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say, and then obviously they could possibly build towards a Bianca-Charlotte match at SummerSlam with no championship.
It makes sense. I was thinking in terms of, in the current moment, Bianca being the Raw Women's Champion, and thinking if her and Rhea go to SmackDown, and Asuka is the Raw Women's Champion, like, who does Asuka face? Like, you bring up Io Sky. I just keep thinking about how much damage their faction, Damage Control, has actually taken since they became a thing. And
well, that's why a match with Asuka would help.
And I feel like NXT Io and had more fans behind her. I don't think people are really behind anyone in that group. I mean, obviously, if it's anyone, it's Bayley. But so in terms of like what Asuka would do, that the fans could like really get behind, I just don't see who else is on the roster, I guess, that Raw has. Not to say that your vision of what should happen is incorrect, because it makes total sense, and it probably should. I just worry about if Asuka gets the title and the big names from Raw go to SmackDown, maybe they would trade somebody from SmackDown over to Raw. But I feel like Asuka definitely, when you talk about damaging to some of these superstars, when you were talking about Bianca Belair, two things came to my mind immediately. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, when she got called up for her first WrestleMania. And then the big one was Asuka herself going undefeated in NXT, just to almost get pretty much squashed by Charlotte at WrestleMania. And it was just kind of, one of those like, why would you do that? And it took her up until this Royal Rumble return for her to kind of get the ship right back, on course. So sometimes it can be too damaging. Sometimes it takes a long time to be able. Rhea Ripley even took a good couple of years to get away from that, to doing what she's doing now, and to get the fans, to make some noise, good or bad, when she comes out. And a lot of times some wrestlers just don't come back from that type of harmful booking. So these women are lucky that they're so earlier into their careers that they can figure a different way. And
yeah, that may be true, but you're gonna have to start somewhere. Is pretty much what I'm saying. You got to start somewhere. And again, the damage all revolves around how badly the women's division as a whole. It's not just certain superstars. It's about the women's division as a whole being so poorly booked for so many years, especially after what Ronda did the first time around. Listen, we can shit on Ronda all we want, but the first time around, Ronda was solid. Ronda helped the division, and Ronda actually brought a lot of individuals to great matches. Ronda and Nia Jax actually had a better matchup than Dean Ambrose, then Jon Moxley, and Seth Rollins back at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs in 2018. And what Ronda did for the division after Becky won both championships at WrestleMania, WWE took the women's division and just completely neglected it. They feuded Lacey Evans with Becky Lynch for how many fucking months? 4 months? That in itself, that right there in itself was the nail in the fucking coffin for the women's division. So it's because of that the women's division is pretty much fighting an uphill battle. It's going to take years to repair, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I'm saying.
But shout out to those women in that Elimination Chamber match, because it was it was good. It's hard for me to watch the women a lot of times and not just feel like embarrassed sitting at home by myself watching it alone, you know?
Yeah. And then
So
listen, they
it's
had
great.
it was no Athena Mercedes Martinez from Final Battle, which
Right.
we watched, but it was still very good. And as far as Ripley goes, we'll talk about Rhea Ripley in just a little bit because we're
All
gonna
right.
get to her match soon. But very good chamber, the best women's chamber that they produced, and this was the right outcome. So I don't have any complaints about that. The next match, I wish I could say the same thing, but unfortunately I am not, because it was horribly produced. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. I really don't know what the fuck happened here. I really do. And you know, I said it before. I don't understand why we needed Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley feuding again after Lashley was fucked over on the Raw after Extreme Rules and Rollins won the United States Championship. But this is the third match that we've seen, and I don't really give a shit how good Bobby Lashley is. I don't give a shit whether Lesnar's an attraction or not. This is probably one of the worst trilogies of matches that I think I have ever watched as a professional wrestling fan. We recently just came off one of the best trilogies in FTR and the Briscoes, and then we get Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. I don't even know who to blame. Matter of fact, I'm going to blame both Brock Lesnar for being lazy, and I'm going to blame whoever produced this fucking match. Whoever produced these matches, whoever produced this match with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley needs to fucking grow a pair of balls and step up to Brock Lesnar and saying, you're going to fucking work or else. Seriously. Does Brock Lesnar run the company, or do the WWE officials run the fucking company? I'm trying to figure that out. It's legitimately the same shit with these three guys. Finisher fest. Every single fucking match. You would think they would at least try to do something different. But no. They would try to do something different, but no. And here's what I'm trying to figure out. So, the match was pretty much after Lesnar did a couple of shoulder tackles. He did a belly-to-belly suplex. And in the beginning stages, I'm like, all right, they're starting it off a little different rather than just going finisher, finisher, finisher. So Lesnar then sent Lashley over the top. Then he threw him back in the ring. Then we get to the finishers. Spear by Lashley for a 2. Another spear connects. Lashley went for the hurt lock. He couldn't get it locked in. Lesnar with an F5. Lashley kicked out. Lesnar with a second F5. Lashley kicked out again. A third spear from Lashley. Lashley goes for the hurt lock. Lesnar was fading. Lesnar tried to fight back. Lesnar with a mule kick right in the testicles to Bobby Lashley, and the ref calls for a disqualification. Lesnar then F5 Chad Patton, the referee. Lesnar then with another F5 to Lashley. Canada was chanting one more time. Lesnar then tore apart the table, F5 to Bobby Lashley through the table, and then Lesnar F5 Chad Patton on the floor. Same shit that we've seen every single fucking time with Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. And here's something that I want to point out. If this was going to ultimately result in chaos, why the fuck didn't we just get a no-holds-barred match between these two? Why does this need to continue? I don't understand why this needs to continue after the Chamber and then going into WrestleMania, and then you're going to add Bray Wyatt into the mix, and Bray Wyatt, he and himself deserves a hell of a lot better, and he should be putting on great wrestling matches on a weekly basis as it is. But now you're going to insert him into this as if he's going to make this shit better. Bray Wyatt, he's trying to rejuvenate himself after that terrible pitch black match at the Royal Rumble. I don't understand why we couldn't have just made this a no-holds-barred match with weapons and chaos and these two guys just beating the shit out of each other, and that would have been it. I don't understand. Why do we need this shit continuing? And I don't even give a shit how good Brock Lesnar is when he wants to be. Ever since Brock Lesnar returned at SummerSlam 2021, this latest Brock Lesnar run since he came back a year and a half ago, outside of the last man standing match with Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, this has been the worst Brock Lesnar run that we have ever seen in WWE. This is the worst that Brock Lesnar has ever been as far as an on-screen act. It's legitimately every single fucking match is the same fucking match. Finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher, as if we're playing fucking WWE 2K. And I haven't even played video games in what, almost 4 years. I have not played video games in 4 fucking years, and it's legitimately like we're playing a fucking video game where we just need to go finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher. And then on top of all that, I don't know if you've noticed this, but why in this latest run, why has Brock Lesnar only been fighting Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley? That's all we've gotten. All we've gotten is about 5 matches with Roman Reigns and 3 matches with Bobby Lashley. And it's the same shit every single time except for the match at SummerSlam. And I actually have some news here, and we're gonna bring this to the table because apparently this was in the plans, and Sean Rossap of Fightful noted on Fightful's paywall that Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, obviously they will be wrestling again, but it will not be taking place at WrestleMania. A 4th match will go down, but it is not locked in for WrestleMania. So I'm not sure if that means that Lesnar's going to be facing Bobby Lashley on a random episode of Raw. I'm not sure if Bray Wyatt's going to make his presence known in that match. I'm not sure if we're going to get a triple threat match at WrestleMania. I'm not sure if we're going to get a singles match between Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt or Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt. I would take a singles match with Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt over Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt, because at least Bobby Lashley knows how to fucking wrestle. At least Bobby Lashley goes in there and he puts the fucking work in. He's had great matches with Ciampa and AJ Styles and Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. He's had a lot of great matches this year. Probably one of the best runs I've seen Bobby Lashley on, especially when he was the United States champion before they took it off him to put him in this terrible feud with Brock Lesnar. And the last thing I'm going to say about this before I give it over to HooliGrim, and I apologize if I'm going on and on. The one common denominator in all this, and this is the crazy part about it, there's one guy that has said that he wants to fight Brock Lesnar, and that would be Gunther. I don't want Gunther anywhere near this shit. Now, it's not taking place at WrestleMania. More likely than not, it's going to be a triple threat match with Gunther, McIntyre, and Sheamus, which I do believe is going to be a match of the year candidate. But then you got SummerSlam coming up, and Gunther, realistically, the best match for Gunther at SummerSlam would probably be Lesnar. But after seeing this shit, I do not want Gunther anywhere near this shit with Brock. This would actually be a downgrade for Gunther. I really don't know. Why exactly do we need to wait once every, 2-3 fucking years for Lesnar to have an actual fucking wrestling match? I'm not saying he needs to go balls to the wall and put on a fucking 30-minute classic like what we got with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, but at least do something fucking different. That's all I ask. All we're asking for is something different. All we're asking for is something interesting. And we get the same shit every single time. Goldberg and Lesnar recreated from WrestleMania 33, I believe it was. Goldberg and Lesnar, same shit. 5-minute finisher fest over and over and over and over again. I'm sick of it. I really am sick of it. The worst trilogy that I think we've seen in the modern era of professional wrestling. Do you have anything to add, HooliGrim?
I have a lot to say about this, actually. Something this bad, there shouldn't be a whole lot of words for it, but I have a lot to say about it. So the first thing I thought of, and you're gonna have to help me with this because I quit watching the weekly product back in 2017. So what happened to MVP?
He is still there, and it looks like he's trying to get the Hurt Business back together. He recently reunited with Cedric and Shelton.
Oh, okay. So he's not attached with Bobby Lashley anymore.
No.
Okay.
Not yet.
Well,
Not yet.
That's been very evident in those clips in that promo package they were showing last night. Bobby Lashley needs to never, ever, ever cut a promo. Ever. I've never heard a Bobby Lashley promo where I've been like, yikes. Like whoever he's going up against is really
promos in 2021. I think Bobby Lashley really needs to go over what he wants to say before he actually says it. But he's got a couple decent promos in 2021.
Well, here's the thing. Like when they showed that promo of his where he's in the suit and he's telling Brock Lesnar, we're going to do things on my terms. He's basically in just a regular voice, just talking like a normal person would talk. There's no like, no, Brock Lesnar, we're going to do it on my terms. Like I'm calling the shots. Like there's no emotion, or it's almost just monotone, like robotics. Like when you have to listen to somebody in class read pages out of a book and they're like, it's just, I'm watching that and I immediately thought of 20 some odd years ago, whatever, when they were both young and both new in the WWE. I remember when Lashley left the WWE the first time, one of his gripes was he wanted a feud with Brock Lesnar. And I don't remember if it was Vince and Brock both, or if it was just Brock saying no, or just Vince not going for it. But they didn't explore that avenue. And last night I'm watching this thing start up and I'm going, oh, well, this is why. I mean, you can't take two one-dimensional wrestlers that are known as just squashers, basically, and put them together and then think that you're going to get anything other than a finish fest. You know what I mean? Like
Bobby Lashley isn't a squasher. Bobby Lashley actually knows how to fucking wrestle.
I get that.
Bobby Lashley just doesn't do finisher after finisher. Go watch his matches with Rollins, with Ciampa, with Styles. That he actually fucking puts on bangers.
So, and when you were saying you put the blame on both of them, I do too.
I don't put the blame on Lashley. I put the blame on Lesnar and the producers.
Oh, okay. My thing with Brock Lesnar is there's this long reoccurring pattern that seems to be not only are all his matches for the most part the same, but he only seems to want to make them believable that he's a killing machine when it's a big 5 or a big 4 pay-per-view, like an Elimination Chamber or like a Backlash, or it just came across last night as he was just mailing it in, like he didn't even want to be there, kind of, you know what I mean? That's the vibe that it gave me. And it's like, what are we doing this for? Like, he just shows up. He just shows up because he knows he's going to get a quick $1 million, and that's that. Like 5 minutes of his time, whoop-de-doo-doo, you know what I mean? It's nothing, no skin off his back, but it comes off so, to the people that are paying to be there, to us watching on TV, come on, man. Like, make it look like you at least want to be doing what you're doing. He looked like he was completely disinterested to me. And maybe it's because he knew, I mean, I don't know how many of these wrestlers go back and watch their performances. If I was in the ring and I was a talent, I would go back and watch what it looked like to other people, how I come across on screen, and I would use that to pinpoint what parts of me are cringe so that I could work on those, so that it would all at some point, hopefully in the future, come across as like smooth and believable. But I don't know. If they're not going to do their next match at WrestleMania, everybody's wanting this to be over with anyway. So if you skip the next 6 weeks and then you go another 3-4 weeks till the next pay-per-view after WrestleMania, who gives a shit? Like, you better do it at WrestleMania, because if you don't, what are you going to do? What are you going to do for Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Is he not going to be a part of WrestleMania? I can't picture that happening. They got to use his
Cross. I pitched Cross and Lesnar, but even then, I don't want to see that. That's a downgrade for Cross if this is what we're going to fucking get.
You're going to get the Cowboy versus the Shredder or something. I don't really know. The Samurai. I don't know.
I don't know, dude. It
wasn't good, DJ. It wasn't good.
We really need to establish something different for Brock Lesnar, and we really need to. They either need to put their foot down with Brock and tell them how many matches does he have a year? 5 matches a year, and we cannot get something of substance with any of those matches.
Well, here's the thing,
and you would think that he would at least show up to work five times a year.
5 times a year makes sense if the guy's a killing machine and they're booking him like that, and he's got both titles over each shoulder. you get that feeling when you're looking at a champion, when you're just looking at a non-champion who's supposed to now be looked at as just, like a member of the roster like everybody else, but he's still only doing 5 matches. And then that's what we get when he does show up. I would just rather, like, just don't waste your time or ours. Like, there doesn't.
I would honestly, I hope he doesn't come back. After this current deal is up, I am not re-signing Brock Lesnar ever again.
It's just been the same stuff. It's been the same Brock Lesnar match since he came back in 2012.
Not even that. I truthfully believe after his matches with The Undertaker in 2015, that's when Lesnar really started to get lazy. Because between 2012 and 2015, Lesnar was putting on some fucking wars with Cena, Triple H. Then we had the CM Punk match. We had the Undertaker feud at SummerSlam, and then inside Hell in a Cell, the match with John Cena at SummerSlam was a fucking, that was a great fucking squash.
Well, those were all great because he was just coming back and it was still new into his second run. Like, now it's been 10 years, you know what I mean? And it's like, we're still getting the same old Suplex City, eat, sleep, squash, repeat, whatever.
I would even say 2017 and 2018 was pretty decent for him because he put on a fantastic match with AJ Styles.
Yeah.
A fantastic match with Bryan Danielson. And then in 2019, he had that great main event at SummerSlam with Seth Rollins. And
right.
then after that, after that, it's just.
Well, if it's booked right, I mean, even in 2023, if it's the proper storytelling and booking, even that can work. But to just do it every time, and now we're this many years of it, is just like, I think everybody's just like, oh, please, enough.
I don't know, dude. I'll be quite honest with you. I would legitimately keep Lesnar off WrestleMania. Putting Lesnar on WrestleMania in this current role, I would say, is worse.
If they're not going to do him and Lashley at WrestleMania, maybe the plan is for Lesnar to not be at Mania.
I hope so.
What else is he going to do? Who's he going
to for anyone that faces him?
Like,
if anything, even if they do a triple threat match, I would probably say that you know what? Maybe if they do a triple threat match with Wyatt, Lashley, and Lesnar, maybe that could be somewhat entertaining. Because I remember Lesnar, he was in a triple threat match with Jon Moxley and Roman Reigns back at Fastlane, and that was actually a very entertaining matchup. It ended pretty quickly, but it was still a very entertaining match. So maybe they could do something along those lines. I don't know. But dude, I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this shit. I would not put Lesnar again. I would let him go. I would have him sit out the rest of his contract. Pay him to stay home because he adds no value.
I agree. No more.
From there, we got a little promotional video for Hollywood WrestleMania where Seth Rollins was doing his best Joaquin Phoenix Joker impersonation, and I was actually laughing my ass off at Seth Rollins. I thought Seth Rollins was fantastic in this shit. He was doing the fucking hand motions. He was doing the fucking. Rollins is great. I honestly think that Rollins could be a very entertaining Hollywood actor. I don't think he should go full time, but if he wants to explore that, I think Rollins could play a really good psychopath like villain in a movie. Whenever they want to explore that, I love the fucking mannerisms and the fucking face paint and the fucking kicks and the way that he was speaking. Becky Lynch then came in. She was Batman, and I did not give a shit about that. Becky Lynch actually came off as cringeworthy, like she usually does. Less of that shit, please. But Rollins as the Joker was entertaining as shit. I'll tell you what else was entertaining as shit. The crowd during our next match, which was Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. Finn Balor, Rhea Ripley versus Edge and his wife, Beth Phoenix. The crowd was singing Metalingus, similar to what they did at Clash at the Castle. Great shit. And this was very, very, very fun stuff. Very fun stuff. And I would say that this was probably the best mixed tag team match that we've seen since Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania 34. This was very, very fun. We got some male on female action and vice versa. We got Dominic. Dominic was legitimately the biggest fucking asshole in this match up until Roman Reigns came out later on in the night. Montreal was fucking letting him have it. And I was laughing my ass off at that shit. This is probably Dominic may be one of my favorite acts on Monday Night Raw. Just because of the way that he comes off and the sniveling prick-like coward that he is, and trying to act like a fake tough guy, and the relationship with Rhea Ripley. Dominic may be the most entertaining act, right behind Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw. I never thought I'd say that, but I fucking love what Dominic is doing. So Edge and Beth Phoenix, they double-teamed Balor, a little poetry in motion. They clotheslined each other. Neither woman would go down after Ripley came in, and Ripley and Beth, they mixed it up a little bit. We then had the crowd chanting, "Fuck you, Dominic," about 3 times in this match, which I was like sitting there laughing my ass off. So he tripped up Beth Phoenix. This shit was great right here. This was probably the funniest thing on the entire show to me. So Dominic tripped up Beth Phoenix. So Beth Phoenix, she got tripped up on the top rope. Edge chased Dominic to the back. Dominic went to the back. Edge went back to the ring. Edge did not go to the back. He did not chase Dominic to the back. Dominic ran to the back, and Edge stayed on the ramp. And Edge, he went back to the ring to help his wife. And so the crowd was chanting, "Nah, nah, 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 hey, hey, goodbye." And then after they stopped singing, "Nah, nah, nah, hey, hey, goodbye," Dominic comes walking out again, puts his hands up in the air, and the crowd just fucking rains down boos on him. I thought that shit was fucking hilarious. I thought that was fantastic.
Hey, shout out to Canada for being the first crowd I've heard to sing that "Na Na 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 Goodbye" and actually do it in tune. That was great. It was awesome.
God, that was hilarious. Canada, like, they made this match better than it was, and that spot right there with Dominic was fucking entertaining as all hell.
It was.
So Dominic comes back out. He just gets a shower of fucking boos. Then people start chanting, "Fuck you, Dominic," again. And I'm sitting there on the verge of fucking crying, laughing. I'm trying to take my notes, and I'm sitting there like with my hand in my head, crying, laughing. So Ripley got planted with a DDT by Beth. Finn Balor then pulled Edge off the apron. Edge then with the educator. Ripley came in to try and break it up. Beth speared her and locked in an educator of her own. We then had Dominic trying to get involved again. The ref was trying to keep Dominic at bay. Dominic tossed the brass knuckles to Beth Phoenix, and this was probably the only botched spot of the match right here. It was a little sloppy, and we had Ripley hitting Edge with the brass knuckles. Balor covered, and Edge just kicked out right as Beth Phoenix broke up the pin. So Beth was a little late there. Outside of that, the match wasn't all bad whatsoever. That was just one little miscue, a little missed timing by Beth Phoenix. So after that, they got themselves back on track. Finn went for the coup de grace. Dom was thrown by Beth Phoenix into the ropes. Balor lost his balance. Balor and Edge were up on the top. Ripley and Beth power bombed Balor and Edge simultaneously. And then Beth Phoenix and Rhea Ripley, they hit each other with a double clothesline, and everyone was down. So Dominic then brought out some chairs. Crowd was booing. Phoenix was on the steps, and Beth was getting ready to give, Ripley was getting ready to give Beth Phoenix a concerto with the steps. And Beth got out of it, delivered a glam slam to Rhea Ripley on the floor. Edge hit the execution on Finn Balor. Suicide dive, taking out Dominic. Back in the ring, Balor hit the sling blade. Edge then with a spear. And Beth Phoenix and Edge paid tribute to Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. FTR. with a shatter machine, which actually looked pretty damn fucking good. Edge covered Balor for the 1-2-3 victory, and Edge and Beth get the win. I thought that it was going to be Edge and Phoenix losing with Rhea Ripley pinning Beth Phoenix, and then we would get the blow-off, but it looks like that we're going to end up getting the blow-off at WrestleMania regardless, but they're taking a different route because Austin Theory, who we will talk about in a little bit, he is putting out an open challenge for the U.S. title on Raw, in which Edge is accepting, and I do believe that the Judgment Day is going to cost Edge. Theory's going to get another big win underneath his belt, and we're going to get Balor and Edge inside Hell in a Cell, which actually presents a rather unpredictable scenario because with Edge winning here in his hometown, we don't necessarily know who's going to come out victorious at WrestleMania. So they could swing either way, whether it be Balor or whether it be Edge. But this was very, very fun. Easily the best mixed tag team match since Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon back at WrestleMania 34 in 2018. And I would have taken Ripley pinning Beth Phoenix to win because I would like to keep Rhea Ripley looking strong going into her match with Charlotte, but I cannot complain after a match like that. And Edge always gets a great reception. Beth Phoenix is still great, and we should absolutely give all the praise and all of our flowers to Beth Phoenix. She is doing great work as per usual. And overall, fun stuff. Overall, very fun stuff. So, HooliGrim, what were your thoughts on this match?
My thoughts on this match were, so I'm a Finn Balor guy, have been since he showed up in NXT. Really was behind the whole dual persona man demon gimmick until it got to the main roster, obviously. And so I've been so focused on, as long as we get to WrestleMania with Finn Balor and Edge in a Hell in a Cell, maybe Edge does some throwback to the Brood versus Demon Finn Balor, something along those lines, because, you know, Hell in a Cell or whatnot, I think would be, that's as a fan, that's what I'm most looking forward to for WrestleMania. So I went into last night's match with the women, the mentality of the women were just going to be kind of side notes to the Balor and Edge feud. And I actually, because I don't watch the product every week, I'm just watching these pay-per-view matches just specifically for what I'm seeing. And the feeling that I got was, I mean, the women stole that match for me. Seeing Beth Phoenix looks like she hasn't missed a beat. Her and Rhea's chemistry is really good. Rhea's killing the role that she's in, obviously, in the Judgment Day. But I almost kind of felt like Finn and Edge were kind of the side notes, and this felt like a feud that, if I didn't know any better, I would say this had been a long time going feud between Rhea and Beth. But it was a very good match, and Beth Phoenix looks great. I don't know. I know Corey Graves on commentary mentioned something about Bull Nakano and Beth's look. I felt like she looked more like Luna Vachon myself, but
yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. The first thing that came to my mind was Luna Vachon, not Bull
yeah.
Nakano, but regardless, still a great tribute.
Yeah, she looked amazing, and her and Edge together. I mean, it's got to be a cool thing for them now that they're married and stuff to be able to like have an experience like that so late in their careers. But yeah, it's making me really, really excited for just hopefully we're getting Hell in a Cell with Balor and Edge at Mania. That's what I'm hoping for. So
yeah, I do believe that is the route that we're headed. As far as Rhea Ripley goes, no fucking question about it. Give her the SmackDown Women's title. And
people were very upset that she got pinned last night.
Who?
Just people on, the IWC. A lot of people I saw were up in arms of the fact that why is Rhea getting pinned, whatever. But
Rhea wasn't pinned. It was Balor. Rhea wasn't pinned. Rhea didn't lose. Balor lost.
You're right.
So
well, I just keep thinking about it. I saw many comments that were maybe, I guess, just because maybe it was the fact that Judgment Day lost then. Probably,
but Rhea should not be losing at WrestleMania. Rhea is taking that championship. I'm not sure where she goes. They do have some stories that they could shoe in. Obviously, you got a Liv Morgan. They have a little bit of history. You could do a Liv Morgan versus a Rhea Ripley. You could potentially do if they want to move someone over to SmackDown, maybe if they want to move Nikki Cross over to SmackDown, they could do that. Maybe if they want to do Shotzi, they could do that. But I do believe that at SummerSlam, we're either getting one of the two matches for Rhea Ripley after she wins the SmackDown Women's title. We're either going to get Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, because that's a match that we have not gotten yet that we should have gotten, but Rhea Ripley needed to get dental surgery. Or, and this is kind of a dark horse pick, but I do believe that Raquel Rodriguez is going to really slide into that spotlight. I don't think she's going to win, but I feel as though that'll be a good spotlight for her, because if you remember, Raquel Rodriguez's some of her best matches in her WWE career thus far were with Rhea Ripley. She put on two very good matches with Rhea Ripley, one of them at Halloween Havoc 2020, and then at New Year's Evil 2021 in a last woman standing match, which I thought was great, probably one of the best matches of the night. Then she got called up. She really hasn't done much of anything, but in recent months, she has really developed a solid reputation for herself. She actually put on a very good match with Ronda Rousey, probably Ronda's best match since the match with Sasha. Shout out to Mercedes, by the way. She's the new IWGP Women's Champion. I will be watching that match shortly after we are done here. But Ronda and Raquel actually had a pretty decent match on the final SmackDown of 2022. Then we had Raquel having a decent performance in the Rumble. She had a pretty decent performance in the Chamber. So slowly but surely, Raquel is starting to raise her stock just a little bit. And I do believe that she could very well be gifted an opportunity against Rhea Ripley, possibly at SummerSlam in Detroit. I don't think she's going to win, but I think that that's going to be a very big test for her to see how good she has been and how far she has come ever since she's gotten called up to the main roster. So I do believe that Raquel is just a dark horse to keep our eyes on, but she's slowly but surely raising her stock, and I'm happy that she is, because I would like to see some new stars get some new showcases. But for now, I do believe Rhea Ripley will be beating Charlotte Flair. Beth Phoenix, we could potentially see a Rhea Ripley-Beth Phoenix match sometime after WrestleMania, but ultimately we are leading towards Finn Balor versus Edge at WrestleMania inside Hell in a Cell, and we got a very fun match here.
I was going to ask you a question, but you just answered it for me. I was going to ask you, do you think that, not to look too far ahead into the future, because obviously we're covering last night's show, but do you think that they will right that wrong from WrestleMania a few years ago and have Rhea actually go over Charlotte this time?
I would like to believe so, because this is Triple H we're talking about. But then again, I mean, Charlotte Flair, she's a manipulative cunt, and I know the fact that Rhea is facing her way into this main event.
Well, I'm sorry.
I said she politicked her way into this main event. That's the only reason why she's main eventing WrestleMania. That's the only reason why Ripley chose Charlotte. It's because last year Charlotte got snubbed. Charlotte knew, and this has been eating her alive for the last year. Charlotte Flair knew she had a shoe-in WrestleMania Night 1 main event last year at WrestleMania 38 because she heard that Ronda was coming back. So she politicked for Ronda to fight her at WrestleMania, and they got it. And then Stone Cold came back after 19 years and snubbed Charlotte Flair. I was smiling ear to ear. She was fucking fuming. It may have been Ronda that walked out, but Charlotte was just as pissed off. Charlotte was fuming over the course of the last year, and what did she do? Politicked her way into this match because she knew that Rhea Ripley was going to win the Rumble no matter what. So she politicked her way into this match, so that way it's a guarantee that she main events WrestleMania. No Stone Cold to save us this year.
I'm wondering if when Charlotte came back, I thought the same thing. And now, as I think about it today, I'm wondering, is it Charlotte was specifically her getting the Mania spot, her politicking, or because based on also Asuka being in the women's title picture at WrestleMania, is this Triple H trying to right some wrongs that were made a few years ago? Maybe not to give Charlotte Flair any credit, because I will not do so here, but
Triple H, yeah. Listen. I thoroughly believe that Rhea Ripley's going to win. There's always a possibility that Charlotte could fuck her over again, but I thoroughly believe that Rhea Ripley's going to win. I do. But at the same point in time, you're not going to fucking tell me that this was the plan from the get-go. It was Bianca and Rhea, and it was probably going to be Asuka and Charlotte Flair.
True that.
Either way, I'd like to hope that a couple of wrongs will be righted from Triple H's and Asuka and Rhea will be the respective flag bearers for the Raw and the SmackDown brands coming out of WrestleMania.
I got one more question for you.
Yes.
If Rhea goes over Charlotte and is the new SmackDown Women's Champion, what does that do? What do you see for her in terms of her role in the Judgment Day, being that she would be the only one with the title?
I would move the Judgment Day over SmackDown. You could do some pretty decent stuff with the Judgment Day on SmackDown. Judgment Day versus Brawling Brutes.
We're used to seeing a champion in a faction as the leader usually, right? So if her being the only title holder in the faction, that kind of makes her, is she heading the Judgment Day? Because at this point, I don't really get a feel of like who's, they all feel kind of equal, I guess. Damian Priest, Rhea, and Finn. I don't really know who's the main one of the faction, and I'm not used to seeing that in wrestling. Not saying there has to be, it's just not something I'm used to seeing. And
I don't know.
I feel like,
you know what I would do? You know what I would do with the Judgment Day? Again, I'd move him over to SmackDown, and Jeffrey Turner, who's in the chat, he mentioned something great, and I'm going to put it on the screen for everyone to see right here. This is a great move right here. Judgment Day versus Imperium. Now, that is a great program on SmackDown that I would personally love to fucking see.
take my money for that.
That is something I would love to see. Or Judgment Day versus the Bloodline. It writes itself.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind either one of those scenarios. And if you want to, you could do, if Roman Reigns is still going to hang around after WrestleMania, you could do Roman Reigns versus a Finn Balor. You could revisit that feud.
I just know how WWE works, and I feel like if they're going to put the title on Ripley, that at some point they're going to split her off from the Judgment Day.
No, I don't think that Ripley should be split from the Judgment Day. They
Me either.
All help each other. They all help.
I agree with that.
Speaking of the Judgment Day, one member of the Judgment Day was in our next match. It was Austin Theory, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. This was an Elimination Chamber match for the United States Championship. What did I tell you a couple weeks ago when they were building this chamber? I said, and if you guys have remembered, I said with the talent in this match that it could end up being one of the best Elimination Chamber matches of all time. And that's exactly what we got. It's exactly what we got. This was one of the most hard-hitting, one of the most fun, one of the most intense, one of the craziest Elimination Chamber matches that they've done. We've seen a lot of crazy fucking spots. Montez Ford and Johnny Gargano, they got in there. They did some crazy spots. Bronson Reed got in there. Everyone looked like a fucking superstar. And everyone got their chance to shine. I'm going to throw it out there. There were no losers in this match. No one was a loser. Even the guys that were pinned and obviously the people that were eliminated. Obviously, Theory was the one that won, but there were no losers in this match. Absolutely no losers in this match. I knew that we were going to get the outcome that we got. And I'm going to explain why after we go over the match, because there was a lot to go over in this match. So Gargano and Rollins started the chamber, and I was very, very happy to see that. That right there for me, if Johnny Gargano is not going to fight for the United States Championship sometime after WrestleMania, I would love to see Johnny Gargano and Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. That would be that's a match of the year candidate if I've ever fucking seen it. That's what I want to see. So they had a nice little back and forth. Gargano with a spear through the ropes onto the floor. Next man in was Austin Theory. So Austin Theory did not take the cheap way out. Austin Theory fucking worked in this match. We had Gargano and Rollins punching Theory back and forth. Theory tried to make amends with Gargano. He ran away into the pod. Rollins went in the other way, and Rollins and Gargano just beat down Theory in the pod like they were two men beating down someone in a phone booth. I thought that was great. Rollins and Gargano pounded away. In came Damian Priest. He lit up Rollins and Gargano. Couple of splashes in the corner. Broken arrow on Johnny Gargano. Rollins was caught with a headlock driver and an elevated flatliner on Gargano for a 2. Roundhouse kick and a kill switch on Seth Rollins. So paying tribute to Christian Cage. That got a 2. Priest then with a somersault senton onto Austin Theory. Theory looked like he fucking broke his ribs, but he did get back up after the match. Rollins caught with a super kick by Priest. Priest went up to the top. Rollins with a superplex Falcon Arrow combination. Priest kicked out. Number 5 was Bronson Reed, and Bronson Reed lit up everyone. He did a Uranagi and a Uranagi by Gargano onto Rollins. So Bronson Reed was taking out everyone, throwing everyone around, had Rollins and Gargano on his shoulders in a double Samoan drop. Rollins was covered by Reed. Rollins kicked out. Priest and Reed, they mixed it up a bit. Priest was sent into the chamber. Reed with a running body block to Damian Priest against the pod. I don't know how the fuck it didn't break. Reed then with a flying shoulder tackle off the top rope to the outside by Theory. Ford then came in. Ford lit up everyone with an uppercut. We had diving uppercuts on Theory, a bulldog on Bronson Reed. We had a power slam to Theory by Bronson Reed. Gargano then got clotheslined by... This was nuts right here. This spot was one of my favorite spots of the night right here. So Gargano was in an electric chair position, right? Now they've done this before. They've done this shit before, but holy shit, there is no way to make this move look safe. There's no way. So Gargano was on Reed's shoulders in an electric chair. Seth Rollins springboarded into the ring, clotheslined Gargano, and Gargano fell backwards, kept his legs wrapped around Bronson Reed's shoulders, and Bronson Reed caught a poison Rana by Johnny Gargano. I don't know how the fuck Reed did not break his neck. This is like the second time that they've done this spot. I do not know how the fuck. No, we've seen a poison Rana how many times in pro wrestling nowadays? I believe Ali used to do it. Gargano did it. Ricochet did it. I think that we've had Candice LeRae done it. I do not know how we haven't seen anyone break their fucking neck with one of these poison Ranas. I don't. There's no way to make that move look safe. I thought Reed broke his neck. Reed ended up kicking out, the fucking psychopath. Ford then started scaling the chamber, and a pile of bodies were on the outside of the chamber. Ford, like a fucking maniac, he did what Lince Dorado did, and he did a fucking Spider-Man type of deal. He was on the roof of the chamber, backflipped himself, and delivered a huge falling crossbody as if he was fucking Batman falling. He
was Batman.
Like fucking Batman falling from the top of one of the city of Gotham's big buildings onto everyone. Holy shit, chant. And that wasn't even the craziest spot of the match. Super kick. Now this is where things really started to get good. Reed was protected in defeat here. And I love the fact that he was protected here. Super kick to Reed by Gargano. Rollins came in, double super kick. Ford came in, triple super kicks. Gargano with one final beat, a stomp by Rollins from the heavens, frog splash. Reed was eliminated, and Reed looked like a fucking beast in defeat. I have absolutely no problem with Bronson Reed being eliminated in that manner, and nor should anyone, because he looked like a fucking monster, even in defeat. So that was a great way to protect Bronson Reed. All of a sudden, Gargano and Rollins were on top of the pod, and they were just sitting right next to each other in the pod as if they were two fucking construction workers watching the sunset, and they were building a building, and they were just sitting on this thing with like 100 feet up in the air, just watching the sunset. And they're like, yeah, this is such a great view. So Rollins then said, fuck this, and started dribbling Gargano's head off of the fucking pod like a fucking maniac. And then this was probably my favorite spot of the night, period. Rollins was going to powerbomb Johnny Gargano off of the fucking pod into the pile below. Gargano reversed it into a Hurricane Rana off the pod onto the pile. I thought Gargano landed on his fucking neck when he hit the floor. How he survived that, I don't know how. Rollins crashed onto everyone. An absolute fucking train wreck. Gargano was then trying to take out everyone. He delivered one final beat to Theory on the outside, and then one fateful razor's edge later, Damian Priest eliminates Gargano. A fucking great performance by Gargano. Then Montez Ford and Seth Rollins, they tried to team up on Priest. Rollins had Priest in a powerbomb position. Ford with a blockbuster off of the pod into Damian Priest, and Rollins powerbombed him, similar to what the Street Profits did. And Ford pins Damian Priest for the win, and Ford eliminates Priest. So Ford has 2 eliminations in this. Ford is looking like an absolute fucking superstar. Ford was doing Tope Con Heroes over the top rope onto Theory, onto Rollins, one after the other. Ford then hit a rock bottom on Austin Theory. He went up for the frog splash. Theory got his knees up. Ford was draped over the rope to the floor. Rollins with a stomp. And I thought Ford was legitimately knocked the fuck out. He was selling the ever-living shit out of this stomp. Theory pinned him to win. They had to open the cage. They had to have people help him. The crowd was chanting for Montez. Montez was the breakout star of this match for me. I mean, we already knew how good he was, but that was an absolute star-making performance for Montez. So the referees were trying to help Montez out, doing a fantastic job at selling. All of a sudden, Rollins hit the pedigree, and he was going for the stomp. All of a sudden, the chamber door is still open. Logan Paul, out of nowhere, comes in, delivers a beautiful buckshot lariat to Seth Rollins, and then a curb stomp on Seth Rollins. Montreal just fucking letting him have it. Theory with the A-Town down, and Theory retains the United States Championship in one of the best chamber matches of all time. And I understand that people are a little disappointed here. I know a lot of people wanted Bronson. A lot of people wanted Gargano. I get it. But at the end of the day, it was not about them winning the title. They're not there yet. It's not their time yet. It will be their time. But right now, it is all about Austin Theory, because I've stated this numerous amounts of times. I love Triple H, but the United States Championship has not received the same love as the Intercontinental Championship. Gunther is on the run of a lifetime right now. He is the best Intercontinental Champion since The Miz, when The Miz was fighting Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy for the Intercontinental title with Dolph's career on the line. Gunther is putting on some of the best matches in WWE right now. He's putting on bangers. Look at the reign that Gunther's been on. He's beaten Ricochet, Nakamura, Sheamus, Rey Mysterio, Braun Strowman, Madcap Moss. The guy is on the run of a lifetime. The U.S. title, I don't want to say it's been bad, because it hasn't, but it's been passed around a little too much. You had it on Lashley, then you took it off of Lashley to put him in a shit feud with Brock Lesnar. Then it was on Rollins for a mere 2 months. Now it's on Theory. Theory right now is the best guy to represent the United States Championship. Think about how credible Austin Theory is going to be after WrestleMania. He's beaten Seth Rollins. He's beaten Bobby Lashley. He's beaten the Elimination Chamber. And then at WrestleMania, he's going to beat John Cena. And then, after WrestleMania, Austin Theory is going to be looked at as one of the most credible guys on the roster. And the United States Championship, especially after a match like this and Theory beating John Cena, the United States Championship is going to look all that much better. This is the best that the U.S. title has looked.
He was also money in the bank winner too.
Yes. This is all about establishing Austin Theory as the next big thing, and it's all about establishing a solid, and I mean a solid, United States Championship title reign with a guy who we know is the future and a guy we know is the best possible representation for it. Because Austin Theory's held it for a mere 3 months. You're not going to take it off of Austin Theory after he just won it back in November. Theory should not be losing that title until after WrestleMania. This was the right outcome. I know some people are looking forward for Reed and Gargano, but right now it's all about Austin Theory and building him up to be the next big thing. And then after WrestleMania, I do believe that Austin Theory will potentially lose the United States Championship. When? I don't know. I'm thinking ahead to SummerSlam with Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano for the United States Championship. That's what I would do, and have Gargano win the U.S. title. But the best part about this all, before I give it to you, HooliGrim, the best part about this all is that after Theory has his victory over John Cena, and he has the victories over Rollins, Lashley, The Chamber, and Cena, all that credibility that Austin Theory would have built up for himself and the United States Championship in a solid 6, 7, 8, 9 month reign, all of that will be transferred to the man who beats him. And the man who beats him is going to look that much better in the end. Let me hear
it. This was a great Elimination Chamber match from front to back. I'm trying to think of, I mean, the only really super memorable, well, I can think of a couple of moments that were memorable to me about other chamber matches, I guess. But front to back, from beginning to finish, this one really had my attention. And for someone that doesn't watch the weekly product, I knew going into it, just based on all my years of watching the WWE and how they seem to repeat patterns all the time. Like I didn't for a moment think Bronson Reed was going to win it. I'm not saying that he shouldn't have, or that I don't like. I really like Bronson Reed, but it made me think of, especially for him and the way he took the pin, but looked strong in defeat, as you brought out. I'm thinking about the years before Roman Reigns was paired with Paul Heyman, and we were getting forced Roman Reigns win at Mania after forced Roman Reigns win at Mania after forced Roman, all because Vince didn't want him looking weak. Well, last night you just showed that there's ways for a guy that you want to stay a strong, dominant looking beast to also lose and not look weak. And that was the prime example of how to do that. And some people I saw were angry that Bronson Reed got pinned. And it's like, if you use if you just think about it, I don't want to say use your brain, because then that implies that I'm calling somebody not smart or stupid or whatever. And I'm not. If you just think about it for a minute, Bronson Reed, like you said, it's not his time. He's one of the only people I've ever seen that got fired from his job and then got rehired so soon right back, especially for 2
months.
The WWE doesn't do stuff like that typically. So to have him come in and win that chamber match, for me, again, as somebody that doesn't watch the weekly product, I would have been like, what? That doesn't make any sense. I know there were a lot of people like Johnny Gargano, and rightfully so, but I didn't think he was going to win the match either. I thought it was going to be Austin Theory all along, but I'm really glad that he actually worked. When somebody's got the physique that he's got, but then they put him in that little Weasley heel role of like running around with the little hijinks and like interfering in matches, or just how they had Austin Theory his first year on the main roster when Vince was mentoring him or whatever. Oh, it's just such a cop out to me. And it's like, for him to actually like be in the ring and then to like work the match, it was like, okay, show us what you can do. Like, show everybody, what all the hype around you is. And he did a great job. He passed the test in my mind. I wasn't too high on him on the main roster in the beginning, for obvious reasons, but Reed looked strong. Austin Theory was great. Gargano, let's talk about that spot where he was in the electric chair position.
I thought he killed himself.
When Rollins hit the move and I watched Gargano go backwards, I legitimate in that moment thought, oh no, something went wrong. And I was expecting Gargano, the way his back arched like that, and he went horizontal. I thought he was going to just come off of Bronson's shoulders and spear himself land on his neck or something horrific. And then as I'm watching, oh, Bronson's going too, and I really think, oh, he's going to land right on Gargano, and Gargano's straight upside down. This is bad. And then they do it, and I was like, oh my God, that was incredible. Like that it was a poison run. I didn't see that coming at all. And for it to happen on a guy that much bigger than Gargano, it was pretty epic to watch that. I don't think I've ever seen that a dual move like that before. It was very impressive, pretty dangerous. I don't know why we don't get like pile drivers for obvious reasons in the WWE. They can do the reverse Rana, which is in a sense a blind pile driver. So, yeah, it was, took my breath away for real. It was like, wow, these guys they're really putting on a show. Felt kind of bad for Damian Priest just because obviously the Judgment Day was not their night, but not everybody can win. So it was a great match. The spots where Gargano and Rollins are sitting up there and they're like, oh yeah, watching, just kicking their legs, and then that slap when Rollins looked over at Gargano and then Knife Edge chopped him. The camera guy with the mic must have been right there because that slap sounded so loud. I looked up from the TV and I was like, what? And then I noticed Logan Paul and I was like, oh, I didn't know he was part of this match. Hadn't realized that he had run in. And I'm not big on Jake and Logan Paul, never have, but I will say that match or that spot at the Rumble with him and Ricochet off the top rope, what he did last year at SummerSlam and Mania. Was he in SummerSlam? He was at SummerSlam.
He brought The Miz to his best match since his match with Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy. Legitimately, that was probably the best Miz match in the last decade.
Logan Paul, so his physical stuff wasn't so much on display last night, a little bit, but that it wasn't what he was there for. But I'm noticing like the way, like he knows the camera, he knows his angles pretty good. I was sitting there going, has he been training for this for like the last 10 years before they let him get in the ring? Because WWE's not just going to let somebody who's never set foot in a ring be in a match at a WrestleMania, right? And I'm like, he looks like he was born for this.
He was. He was bred for this. Logan Paul was bred for pro wrestling.
It's crazy.
I don't know why, but the guy is a fucking stud.
Watching him in the ring, I forget that I'm watching one of the Paul brothers, to be honest.
I'm telling you right now, Logan Paul and Seth Rollins could very well steal the fucking show.
It very may well do that.
Logan Paul and Roman Reigns was on my top 10 list for top 10 best matches of the year. Never mind my wildest dreams would I ever think I'd be putting a match with Logan Paul on my top 10 wrestling list for any year of any generation. And
especially the fact that he's only been around for a year.
Guy is unbelievable. But this was absolutely one of the best chamber matches ever. And a match that I'm sure.
Real quick too, not to cut you off, but I just wanted to also speak on Montez Ford real quick. Yeah, hanging upside down like that, like Batman, and then just swooping down on everybody. And even his standing drop kicks, his athletic ability. When he does a standing drop kick on the ring, it looks like somebody else has jumped off the top rope and done it. You know what I mean? Like the air that he can get just from a standing position really makes me jealous of some people. You know, it's like, God, I wish I could just, jump 6 feet in the air standing still. Like that must be a crazy feeling.
How the hell is a man like that? And he's just like a normal guy. No normal human being should be able to jump that high from doing nothing.
Right.
It's unbelievable. The guy is a different fucking breed.
Yeah, he's set up for he's set up for a good singles run at any point whenever they want to pull the trigger with that.
You know, they don't have to break up the Street Profits. They could do the Dax Harwood route with them.
Yeah, and I don't feel like WWE has enough tag teams to break up the Street Profits. They really need to. Dawkins, I've seen Dawkins in the ring solo too. He's pretty athletic too. They have two viable singles wrestlers anytime they want, but you know, the tag team division, the tag team wrestling in WWE is just so meh that what are they going to do?
Some really good tag teams in WWE right now. The tag team division is pretty
I mean, in terms of like, they don't push tag team matches really. Obviously, I guess maybe because of the tag team scene kind of intertwines with the main event scene right now with the whole tribal Roman Reigns and the Bloodline storyline and whatnot. So obviously that'll change once that starts to change its course. But the Street Profits, I don't want to see, like, I know it's coming, but I don't want to see them break up. They're just one of the last pieces of. Yeah.
They don't need to break up. Just have them do the Dax Harwood route.
Just singles matches from time to time?
Yeah, from time to time. It's not going to kill anyone.
Right.
But yeah, a great chamber match, right outcome. And
that was awesome.
I have a feeling this will be on everyone's list for one of the best matches of the year. As well as the next match as well. The match that everyone had been waiting for. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn. This was for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. And I'm telling you this right now, and I've said this before. I don't want to disrespect Cody Rhodes, and I don't want to disrespect Roman Reigns. I don't want to disrespect Triple H, but I am sorry. There is absolutely no fucking way. Doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what is done, what is not done, who's there, who's not there. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes will never get the amount of heat that Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns got with their match last night. I'm sure that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are going to put on a great story. They're going to put on a great match. Everything is going to flow very, very nicely, but there is no chance that that match will be as hot as this match was. It was legitimately fucking bone-chilling. Bone-chilling to hear. And what Sami Zayn said on Friday Night SmackDown 2 nights ago, that was not just a promo. That was a shoot. He said this is once in a lifetime. This exactly was that. Once in a fucking lifetime. Roman Reigns came out first, soaked in everything. I actually thought that this was brilliant. The crowd, before Sami's music hit, was chanting, "Fuck you, Roman." Sami's music hit. The crowd fucking exploded, singing his theme song. They stared at each other, and there was not one move done. They literally stared in there. They stared at each other. They did not touch for about 4 minutes. 4.5 minutes. They did not touch. They just took it all in. They didn't touch. They looked to the crowd. They stared at each other. And the entire fucking crowd chanting, "Sami, Sami, Sami. Ole, ole." Crowd chanting, "Fuck you, Roman." Roman was actually playing up to the crowd. Roman was playing up to the crowd, smiling at the crowd and making these disgusted looks at the crowd. The reason why, and I'm going to tell you this, the reason why this is once in a lifetime and the reason why Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn will never, ever, ever be topped this year from an energy standpoint, it's because of the simple fucking fact that these two men were once in the fucking doghouse. And I mean like the doghouse full of shit and shredded toys. And they were in the worst possible place that they could possibly fucking be. Sami Zayn at one point was the best babyface in all of WWE. His journey to the NXT Championship mirrored that of Jeff Hardy's journey to the WWE Championship, spending the entire fucking year. When Bryan Danielson went down with injury in 2014, Sami Zayn became the biggest babyface in all of WWE. And his journey to the NXT Championship when he finally beat Adrian Neville, it was a thing of fucking beauty. An absolute thing of beauty. Then he gets called up to the main roster and he's made into a fucking glorified enhancement talent. He's made into a glorified enhancement talent. He was constantly used in the Dolph Ziggler role, putting other people over. He was never given the proper respect that he deserves. He should have been a multi-time world champion by now. And I don't give a shit what anyone says. Sami Zayn should have won the 2017 Royal Rumble, and Sami Zayn should have gone on to beat Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania 33. That should have been the main event. Then you got Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns, a guy who was shoved down everyone's throats for God knows how many fucking years, trying to be the next John Cena, this cringe, babyface, heroic type of style. And then finally, it took a pandemic to fucking do it, but they finally turned the guy heel. They turned the fucking guy heel, and they made him into the top act in the industry. And not only that, but Roman Reigns was even suffering under this gimmick. Sami Zayn, going into 2022, was a glorified enhancement talent, an absolute glorified enhancement talent, a chicken shit heel, a chicken shit jobber going into 2022. And Roman Reigns, after a phenomenal 2021 where he was legitimately putting on banger after banger, after WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and the entire bloodline was flat as shit. And that's not because they're not great at what they do. The problem is the fact that they've already run through everyone. They ran through everyone to a point where they were on an island unto themselves, no pun intended, and no one could stand face to face with them. It was Roman Reigns in the bloodline and then no one else to follow. There was no top-tier baby faces that would have made for compelling television against Roman Reigns in the bloodline. So the bloodline were just gods and everyone else was mere mortals. The bloodline was gods and the bloodline cannot be touched. Simple as that. Then Sami Zayn came in. Sami Zayn came in, and we started to see Sami Zayn's likable persona come out even more. And I said that Sami Zayn needs to be a babyface. And over the course of month after month, we saw Sami Zayn become a babyface. And Sami Zayn single-handedly rejuvenated the bloodline. If Sami Zayn was never put in the bloodline would have been flat all year. And then again, that's not because they're not great. The Usos are one of the best tag teams of all time. Roman Reigns is on the run of his fucking life right now. And this is the Roman Reigns that we all needed and we all wanted. This was the Roman Reigns that was going to succeed. But there was no one that was going to be Roman Reigns' yin to his yang. There was no top-tier baby faces that were going to stand toe-to-toe with Roman and make it believable. Sami Zayn came along, and he not only resurrected the bloodline, he not only resurrected Roman's run as the world champion, but he resurrected his own career in the process. Something like that you never fucking see. Never see in such a short period of time. Stuff like this legitimately comes around once in a blue moon. The energy that we have felt during this entire storyline with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns has not been felt since the fucking Yes movement. That was the last time that energy in this type of capacity was felt. And when Bryan Danielson turned on the fucking Wyatt family and everyone in Providence, Rhode Island was going, yes, 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 that right there will go down as one of the best moments in Monday Night Raw history. This mirrored that. This mirrored that. This felt like that. And Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn, they took you on a journey that I did not think was possible. Everything about this match was spectacular. And I never use that word. But it was fucking spectacular. They didn't even touch for 4.5 minutes. We get Roman Reigns playing up to the crowd, had him in the palm of his hand just like Sami. Sami took Roman Reigns over the top rope, delivered a beautiful tope con hero to Roman Reigns. 10 punches turned into at least 30 punches. Flying elbow to the head, Roman kicked out at 1. Roman Reigns slowed the pace down. And this is what makes Roman Reigns so good. The fact that he was just stern-faced, playing up to the crowd. He started talking shit to Sami's wife, which was fucking great. I was laughing my ass off at that shit. Sami Zayn came back with a stiff lariat, tried to mount the comeback, delivered a big flying lariat. Roman was sent to the floor. Sami Zayn delivered a flurry of right hands, kissed his wife, went back into the ring, delivered a sunset flip powerbomb for a damn near close 2 count on Roman Reigns. Roman then with a Uranagi for a 2, Superman punch reversed, exploded suplex into the corner, Haluva kick attempt, but then out of nowhere, Roman Reigns delivered a Superman punch. Sami Zayn stayed alive. Roman Reigns went for the spear. Sami Zayn dodged it into a roll-up. Another exploder into the corner. Sami Zayn delivered a Superman punch. Haluva kick on the fucking money. Roman Reigns kicked out, and my God, was that a fucking near fall for the fucking ages. That I legitimately, like, my heart fucking dropped into my stomach on that near fall. What a fucking moment that was. A second Haluva kick attempt. Roman Reigns rolled out of the ring. Sami went for the tornado DDT that he does through the ropes. Reigns with an uppercut. Reigns then ran around the ring and he went for the spear. Sami sidestepped it. Roman went barreling through the barricade. Back in the ring, Roman Reigns was hit with a beautiful Blue Thunder bomb. Another great near fall from Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns was in a sleeper hold by Sami Zayn, it looked like. It looked like it was a sleeper hold of some sort. He was trying for some sort of suplex. Roman Reigns backed Sami into the official. The official was down. Haluva kick again, but there was no official to count. Sami Zayn realized the ref was out. Jimmy Uso came in. And Jimmy Uso was put in a scenario where now he needs to fight for the bloodline. Roman told him to stay home, but Roman Reigns took the advantage anyway. Jimmy Uso with 3 super kicks, Uso splash. He put Roman Reigns into the cover, and Sami kicked out again. Roman Reigns then started screaming at Sami Zayn, "You ruined my life. I tried to help you. This is how you repay me." He slapped Sami Zayn. Zayn slapped him back. Zayn fucking slapped him back. We had a Superman punch to the other official that came into the ring. Superman punch by Zayn. Superman punch by Roman. Everyone was down. Heyman then slid a chair to Roman Reigns, and then all of a sudden, Jey Uso stepped in between them, and Roman Reigns put Jey Uso in the same fucking situation that he put Kevin Owens in and Sami Zayn in at the Royal Rumble. This time, it was Jey in the role of Sami and Sami in the role of KO. Jey even teased hitting Roman Reigns with the chair. Reigns pie-faced him. Jey was then accidentally speared by Sami Zayn. Roman went after Sami and bashed him with the chair. Roman with a spear. Another official came in. 1, 2, 3. Roman retains. Jimmy then went after Sami. All of a sudden, Kevin Owens came out. He took out Jimmy Uso. He went after Roman. Stunner to Roman. Stunner to Jimmy. Pop-up powerbomb to Jimmy through the table. He then took a chair. Heyman tried to intervene. Owens looked at him with this look on his face, like, what the fuck are you doing? Stunner to Heyman. Owens then looked back at Sami, looked back at Roman, stepped out of the way. Sami Zayn delivered a Haluva kick to Roman Reigns, and Owens then walked off. First of all, this match was incredible. The atmosphere, the story, the in-ring action, everything. The stars fucking aligned perfectly. The stars aligned perfectly, and we got what will go down as one of the best matches that WWE's ever produced all year, and a match that could very well trump anything that goes down at WrestleMania. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I know that a lot of people don't really like Roman Reigns as the world champion for so long. I know that there have been periods where Roman has gotten stale as the world champion, but after a match like that, after a story that they've told with Sami Zayn and everything that Roman Reigns has done for Sami Zayn, because it wasn't just Sami Zayn. Sami resurrected the bloodline, and Roman Reigns helped resurrect Sami Zayn's career. We need to give all our props possible to Roman Reigns. And if you're not going to give your props to Roman Reigns, well, then you know what? That's your fucking problem. And I think you got some serious fucking issues. The guy knows what he's doing, and the guy knows exactly what the business is all about. And what he did for Sami Zayn, it is going to last for the rest of Sami Zayn's career and life. Now, Jay did not play a factor into this match. I don't know about you, but I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried that this is not going to play into Cody's favor. Because if there was any place to do the Jey Uso heel turn and establish his allegiance to the bloodline and transfer that heel heat from Roman to Jey, it was in this moment, in this match. It's a very, very tough scenario for me to look at, because I know for a fact it could have been executed a little better. That is probably my one critique about this entire thing. Other than that, it was perfect. The one thing that I'm just worried about is, are they waiting too long on this? I don't really understand why we can't just establish Jey Uso in the bloodline right now. I don't understand why we need to wait. Now, to me, it just kind of seems like Triple H is trying a different route to get us to the same destination, and ultimately, we will get the heel turn at some point, but I don't think it's going to be very, very impactful on a random episode of SmackDown rather than doing it here in Montreal. Now, the one thing that people cannot inevitably feel is the fact that Sami deserves a rematch, because we cannot have this. Cody Rhodes is the right guy to take down Roman Reigns, and Sami and Owens are going to be the individuals to take down the Usos. There's legitimately no other tag team that is going to be able to stand toe-to-toe with the Usos and make it believable. It's a very, very, very rough scenario. I don't know where they're going to go. I'm a guy that usually has all the answers. I don't have the answer. I really don't have the answer, and it's going to be rather confusing coming out of the Elimination Chamber. I hope to get some more answers as we move further and further into WrestleMania season, but other than that, an absolutely incredible atmosphere, an incredible match, right outcome, and Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, one hell of a fucking story. And I don't think it will ever be duplicated. No story in pro wrestling will ever come close to what Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns have done in the last 9 months. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Oh, sorry. I have a whole bunch to say about this match. There's so many little intricacies and details that have built up over time before this was even a storyline that have all found their way into what's about to happen at WrestleMania, that it really, when you start to think about it and talk about it, you can really go back to Roman Reigns. I was one of the ones that was just pushing for Roman Reigns to be off of my TV at one point because of the forced nature of it and whatnot. And then I'm trying to think, like, how did this storyline even get started with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns? Because I remember when they first started to interact with each other and we started to see, like, okay, this is where they're going with this story. I felt at the time, like, Sami Zayn, like, I was huge into Sami Zayn when he was in NXT. And like you said, when he beat Neville, that was an epic moment. And then KO comes in. I swear KO wasn't even in NXT for a month, and he was powerbombing Sami Zayn on the NXT board, LED board that they used to have on the side of the ring. And it felt like a couple weeks after that, he was on Raw beating, standing over Cena with the NXT title. And I'm going, but what happened to Sami Zayn's push? Like, then he goes to the main roster and, like you said, basically becomes an enhancement talent for years. So at first it felt kind of random, the whole thing that they would choose Sami Zayn. And I'm like, Sami Zayn, like, what? And here I am today after last night going, man, it's been a long time since there's been like you can have a wrestling match that'll have like a big fight feel, but in terms of like a storyline built up over so much time, and I'm pretty sure Sami Zayn is the type of guy that knows the role and what's going on in his career right now. There are people that get WrestleMania moments that don't come across and don't feel as epic as what happened last night. And that was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, probably you could give him a WrestleMania moment and it ain't going to feel nearly as epic as what was going on last night. Right. So to me, that was like Sami's WrestleMania. And I just kept thinking, what poor timing for Cody Rhodes to have gotten that injury as soon as he came back to the E. But also, the timing couldn't have worked out better for someone like Sami Zayn. You know what I mean? But like you said, if they're going about, because we all thought that Jay was going to do something that didn't happen last night, my thoughts were, okay, they're trying to make this as unpredictable for a Mania outcome as possible. But then when you start to think about it, I said the night after the Royal Rumble, I was on Twitter tweeting my ass off that the Mania main event, and I know how WWE is, it doesn't make sense in terms of if you're just talking about the Bloodline storyline, but Mania is always triple threat Mania. And I said the night of the Rumble, they're going to make Mania come hell or high water. They're going to find a way to make this a triple threat match. And not saying that that's what I want, but I kept getting vibes last night. I just kept having flashbacks to, I think it was 2014 with the Yes Movement, and Batista just comes back and everybody was really wanting to see Batista again. And then Daniel Bryan happened and they tried, okay, we'll put Blue Tista in here with Daniel Bryan, and nobody, I mean, obviously the fans revolted and it backfired on Batista, unfortunately. And I'm hoping, so if that scenario hadn't happened, maybe what we're getting now with this storyline, I just think the experience of what had happened then is going to factor into, I feel like it's already factoring into why Jay didn't do what made sense for him to do last night. And I think that WWE is probably sitting there going, well, we don't want to have a repeat of, 2014 or whatever, but you give that title to Cody with as hot as Sami Zayn is, and you don't include Sami Zayn. I'm not saying that you have to, but if you don't, I just see Blue Tista all over again, except for the egg's going to be on Cody Rhodes' face. And I just see the fans turning on Cody Rhodes like completely.
I don't know. I'd like to believe that they're probably going to do something, because at the end of the day, there's really no other route to go other than Sami and KO versus the Usos, and then you got Roman and Cody.
Well, here's the other thing. KO didn't come out during the match; he came out after.
Yes.
So if he comes out during the match, then it kind of makes sense. Obviously, the Mania build is supposed to be for Roman and Cody, but if I kept thinking if KO came out during the match and interfered, then I could see, but then that kind of, him and Sami kind of shift places, and then it kind of, do you put Kevin Owens in a triple threat with Cody and Roman at Mania because he interfered? Like, obviously Roman's going to be pissed that he interfered and want to deal with that, but you can't really do that at Mania. I was puzzled by KO coming. I mean, obviously it's Montreal, Quebec, so KO, hometown boy, they got to show him at some point. But him just coming out at the end, it was like, why did I was just kind of baffled by that. But and then the only thing, like I said, I could think of was that they just are really trying for this to be. We don't know what's about to happen now because Is it going to be a triple threat? Is it somehow we're going to just get Roman and Cody at Mania? What's Sami and KO going to do? Is Jay going to factor into this? Are the Usos going to have a beef? Who knows? I mean, who knows how this is all going to shake out. But I will say this. I see a lot of people saying, everybody, for what I'm seeing, the majority of people think that Roman, to whomever, is going to lose the titles finally at Mania. I would say possibly I would have gone down that route had Jay turned on Sami like we all thought he was going to do.
I think we're going to get that regardless, and I think that then we're going to be off to the races with the tag team title match, and then we're going to get Roman and Cody. But
I just don't think that Roman is now, after the way last night panned out, I don't think he's losing it. I don't think he's losing the titles at Mania.
He's going to have to. You really can't go any further. There's really no one left. This is the perfect time for him to take the title, to lose the titles at Mania. If Roman was to go through Mania with the championships, then Roman Reigns is going to be right back in the same boat that he was in before Sami Zayn entered the bloodline. Because again, there is no chance, there's no way that anyone on this current roster is going to look believable against Roman Reigns. It's just not believable.
And I feel that.
Sami and Cody are the only believable ones. And Sami already lost.
And I feel like Triple H is also, if he's trying to right wrongs here and reinsert his flair to the creative and the booking scene of the company, I feel like Roman, I don't know. I don't know why I think this, but I just feel like because of how everything shook out, I just feel like it'll be Roman and Cody somehow at Mania. And I feel like they just can't ignore how hot Sami Zayn is. And I don't foresee them just letting him and Roman, like last night, that be the end of it. And I just feel like maybe they give him a rematch at somewhere down the road, a couple months from now, around SummerSlam, or maybe a mid-card pay-per-view, a mid-pay-per-view before that. One of not the big ones.
But we will get Sami Zayn in another world title match. And if anything, I would probably have to say it would probably come after SummerSlam, because I do believe that we will see Sami and KO win the tag team titles at WrestleMania. And then Cody will win the world title. Sami and Cody will face off after SummerSlam, because Sami and Owens will lose the tag team titles to Imperium at SummerSlam. And then Cody's going to go into the fall as the WWE Undisputed Champion. And then we'll probably get a rematch with Cody and Sami, because after the promo that we got on Monday, there's no way that we cannot get a Cody and Sami match.
Do you see them doing, for at least one or two matches, like a Roman versus Jay at all?
If that's the case, then I think that we could probably get that after WrestleMania with no title on the line. So Jay and Jimmy would have lost the tag team titles. Jay would have, pledged his allegiance to the bloodline. Sami and Owens win the tag team titles, and Roman loses the world title, and Roman blames Jay for his lack of decision before however many weeks before WrestleMania. And he blames Jay for showing a sign of weakness. And then we'll probably get Roman and Jay going into the spring and summer months of 2023. They could do that.
How we see a lot of times in WWE, like week after week, which is one of the main reasons why I quit watching weekly, was like just the same regurgitated match with the same two people week after week after week, maybe to keep everything unpredictable. Obviously, if Jay attacks Sami and turns on him last night, we all know what we're getting at Mania. But since they didn't do it, maybe they just do a repeat of last night at Mania, which I didn't think about until just now. Jay comes out again. Roman puts him in that position again. And since he didn't turn on Sami last night, we think for sure he's going to whack Roman this time. And then that's when Jay wing on Sami and costs. But then that means Sami would have to be in the title picture at Mania, so that's out.
Yeah, that's out of the question.
Yeah, I just don't know what they're going to do. I'm so totally confused by all this.
I think they're sticking with the plan. I think we're getting the tag team title match, and then Cody and Roman, and we're going to have the bloodline lose all their championships, and then we're probably going to go into a Roman Reigns, Jey Uso feud coming out of the WrestleMania card. And then that's probably going to go into the spring and summer months. Sami and Owens, they're going to do their thing with the tag team titles, and Cody's going to do his thing with the world championship. That's how I see it playing out.
There's like, this storyline is so epic. Like, who would have thought that the 2014 Yes Movement scenario would come into play, at least from when you're thinking about the creative and where the story is going to go. You have to go back to that moment and factor that into what's going on now, because we're all worried about Cody and what's going to happen out of all this now that Sami got so hot in Cody's absence, recovering from injury. And it boggled my mind last night. I was like, I'm sitting here getting like Blutista vibes of 2014, and how something like that had nothing to do with what's going on now kind of factors into like, they could go that route. Like, is it going to play out the same? I don't know. This is just a very intricate storyline that when you start to just kind of pick it apart, it's like, it's just kind of mind-boggling to me. I haven't been really this into a storyline, as in like what's going to happen, like waiting week after week. Like, when are they going to finally, like, when is this going to play itself out? Like, we're just tuning in week after week, and that's great, because that's, you know, that's what we love about pro wrestling. Like, keep me on the edge of my seat and wanting to tune in every week to see if, you know, something goes down or not. So it's great. And it's like I told you before the show, I wasn't really, I wanted to go to Mania. I was going to buy tickets, and I thought, no, I know how WWE is, and I'm not willing to risk that kind of money. And then now the way that the chamber build was, and last night, I'm like so excited for Mania. I'm bummed that I didn't buy a ticket, but it was a great show, man. Great show.
We're definitely going to keep our eyes on everything. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I would definitely say that it's time to really establish Jey Uso's loyalty to the bloodline, and we get what we need to get, and we get the plans that should be taking place at WrestleMania, where Jey and Jimmy defend the titles against KO and Sami, and Cody inevitably beats Roman for the championships.
Do you see Jimmy and Jey having any sort of beef because Jey wouldn't hit Sami with the chair?
Possibly. I think that could probably play into a factor, and maybe Jey is trying to, you know, release Jimmy from this mental, you know, ball and chain that Roman has on him, trying to free Jimmy from this delusion that Roman actually cares for him, but Roman just cares about himself.
Maybe Jimmy and Jey go into a singles thing against each other after they lose the titles.
We haven't seen that, so that would actually be pretty interesting. I would actually not mind that. But, ladies and gentlemen, we got ourselves one hell of a fucking rewind for the Elimination Chamber. And HooliGrim, I thank you for taking the time out of your day to come on the channel with me to talk about what's going down with the Chamber and what's going down with the road to WrestleMania. You are fantastic as per usual.
Thank you, man.
And hopefully I'll be able to get you back on the channel very, very soon.
Thank you so much for having me back. I had a great time talking about Ring of Honor for Final Battle, and was very shocked when I got the message from you the other day asking if I wanted to make a return. And of course, anytime, man. I love your show. I love chatting wrestling with you. You've always been a good dude to me. And anytime you need somebody to fill in, let me know.
Oh, no, absolutely, man. I will absolutely be doing that. But Lisa, I think Lisa and myself are planning something, and I think Lisa is going to be a guest on my show very soon.
Nice.
Hopefully, I do believe that it's going to be on March 2nd, I believe, which is a Thursday evening. I think, Lisa, you're going to have to get your ass in gear, because you're going to be coming on my show for the rundown for AEW Revolution at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then maybe for the rewind for Revolution, I'll have to make some phone calls, see who wants to come on. Maybe I'll bring Jay Leto back on. So shout out to Jay Leto. But one more time, HooliGrim, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at HooliGrim, like the word who, L-A, La Grim. HooliGrim.
Go and check him out. He's great. He is a very passionate wrestling fan, and I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting a lot of great material. We got plenty of good shows coming up. Revolution, Supercard of Honor, Stand and Deliver, and WrestleMania. So much shit going down, but I'm actually going to go check out Battle in the Valley and see what we got.
Do that.
There. Yeah.
Do that. I won't give you any spoilers, but the ending to the show was just, oh my God, it gave me chills, man.
I cannot wait to see it, that's for sure. But till next time, I am DJ Storms. He's HooliGrim. This has been The Rewind. But we're not done yet, because before we get out of here, there is a universal question that all must answer, because all must know the truth, the gospel truth right here. HooliGrim, tell me, who runs the IWC?
No, not him. No. DJ motherfucking Storms, baby.
Oh, you damn right, baby! Who but DJ motherfucking Storms?